Yeah, that's my own company, Donovan's Pool Service. That just says Donovan's Pools though. But I did have a hat made because I gotta work in something. So I've been telling a lot of stories about all the stuff I've been going through. Well, I figured I'd tell you a story time about of just a dumb story that happened when I was drinking with a buddy of mine. And I'm gonna tag him in this video, and maybe he will comment and rectify some of the mistakes I might make because this is just a dumb story. I ended up getting hurt really bad at the end of this story, mostly because of him. But my buddy Steve-O, who he and I were good pals at the John Barleycorn, still good pals. I still talk to him. He comes to golf tournaments that I'm in all the time. I just saw him. I saw him in the last golf tournament we were both in. I love Steve-O. He's a good man. We don't agree on things politically, but we can still be friends and hang out. And we still have similar interests. And I love Steve-O. He's a good man. Um, One year, again, around St. Patty's Day, because I was wearing my St. Patty's attire. So it was about around that time. I don't know if it was St. Patty's Day or the day before or the day after, but I remember I was wearing my official Irish drinking team shirt. And the back of it said, I put the name Skywalker on there because I thought that was cool. And I was wearing some beads, and I was one of those nights. I remember it was big fluffy snowflakes were coming down that night, and we got several inches of snow, and it was a pretty gnarly night. And I went to a buddy of mine's house, and they were having a little get together. I started there, had a few drinks, had a few cheers, saw some people, had a good time, and that started to peter down. I'm like, "All right, I'm going to the bar because that's where I want to go." So I went down to the old JBC in Wego and started drinking heavy beers, shots. And I forget if I was actually employed there at this time or not. I don't recall. I may have been. And one of the things was when we first started working down there, I think I worked there from '05 to '08. And when you work there, in the beginning anyway, uh, Barb Dunnigan owned the joint. And one of the leftover things that she kept briefly was all employee drinks were $1. Oh, they were $1. So me and Steve and Mike would sit at the corner of the bar when we weren't working, and we'd go, "Shots, your turn," and we'd point to the guy next to us because it was $3 for a round. Now, each of us worked there, each of us drank there. They were $1 drink, so we drank cheap, and we drank a lot. We used to drink a thing called Tawaka. Tawaka was an orange liqueur, it was an Italian orange liqueur, and it tasted like was it Grand Marnier, something like that. We used to do Tawaka bombs, put Red Bull in Tawaka and chug it down like a Jaeger bomb. We used to do Tawaka a lot, and I remember I got into Steve-O and I would drink bottles of the stuff. We were the number one distributor in New York State of Tawaka because of 3 people, because we went through bottles like so fast, and it wasn't cheap. Stuff was expensive. Well, it wasn't expensive. Well, expensive to everybody else. It wasn't expensive to us. Anyway, so me and Steve-O were down there just doing the damn thing, having drinks, having a time. Life's going. I believe Steve was working that night, actually. I was drinking like a champion. And I think Steve-O was working. I don't think he was drinking. He normally does. Don't get me wrong. Steve-O and I were drinking buddies. But I got blistered drunk. And I believe it was towards the end of the night, at the end of the night probably kicking people out. I'm not 3 sheets. I'm 7 sheets to the wind. But somehow I'm still on my feet. My tolerance was through the roof. I chugged enough liquor to paralyze an elephant, and I just hammered it that night. So in the Barleycorn at that time, there used to be an apartment upstairs. And to legally have that, they had to separate the entrance to the bar and the apartment. So when you walked in the main door of the Barleycorn, there was actually a little hallway. They had built a wall There's the brick wall of the building, and then they built a wall in, and you'd walk through the little hallway, and then there was a door at the end of the hallway that you open that up, and that would go. That was the front door to the steps that would go up to the upstairs apartment, and then the door on your left would open up into the bar. They have since removed that side wall because there is no apartment up there anymore. But at the time, there was people living in that apartment. I think it was actually the bar manager and her husband at the time. Uh, but there was an apartment up there, and Steve-O and I were somehow in the hallway, and Steve-O was gonna have to jump in and tell me why we were in the hallway. I'm not really sure. He was probably just trying to kick me out, and I was just being belligerent. And we were out in that hallway. He had just got me out of the bar into the hallway, and there's Steve-O and I is now. I am 5'9" on a good day. Steve-O is like 6'4". So he's got the height advantage, but he's a lot skinnier than me. I'm a lot wider. We're pretty much the same weight. I might even outweigh him by a little bit at the time. But he's definitely got the height advantage, definitely has the reach advantage on me. So we're out in the hallway, and I'm being belligerent, and I'm being nonsensical. And I'm pretty sure Steve-O was working. He was pretty sober. He might have had one drink the whole night. Like he was with it. But I think I wanted to play. Like I wanted to just be an asshole. So I think I like reached up and I like tapped him like I was gonna slap him in the face. And he's like, "You don't want to do that. You don't want to play that game." And I think I fucking slapped him again. And then he cracked me. And I was like, "Oh!" And he's like, "You don't want to do that. You don't want to play this game." Because he knew I couldn't win. But drunk me, I couldn't get over this. So there I was in my drunk head, like, I'm gonna get this motherfucker. I'm gonna get this 6'4" son of a bitch. So I think I slapped him again. He cracks me. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And right when I did that, I thought to myself, hey, man, now's your time. Now's your time to get him. So I reached down to the floor. And I'm now, mind you, I'm reeling back a little bit. And I reached down to the floor. And I'm like, throw it. And I came from the basement. And I come up and just, boom! Let Steve-O have one. I lit him up. His head spins around. He falls backwards. And as soon as I did it, I went, oh, shit. That ain't good. He's going to be pissed. He was pissed. He was pissed. What are you going to do? I'm drunk. I'm stupid. And I just cracked one of my best friends, and I cracked him across the face. Woo! At that moment, I knew I had to leave, and I had to leave quick. Now, mind you, like I said, this is March in upstate New York, and it was already snowing outside that night, but it had been snowing all season. You know, there was 3-4 foot snowbanks outside still at this time. You know, it was freezing cold outside, and there's big fat snow coming down. Not a blizzard per se, but it was snowing pretty good. I turn around and I take off. I'm gone. I'm not sticking around to see how he feels about this, and I don't want his return shot. So I turn around and I take off. I hit that front door. Boom! I kicked that son of a bitch open. Or I ripped it open. It doesn't matter. I'm gone. As soon as I take a step out the front door, I realize, oh shit, there's nowhere for me to go. You walk out the front door of the barleycorn, and without a snowbank, you got like a 6-7 foot, maybe 8 foot worth of sidewalk. And then you're in the road. You're on Front Street in Owego. You're in one of the main roads. But right then, there was probably 5 foot of that from the road in, 5 feet deep of snowbank. I'm guessing, by the way, this was a long time ago. This is circa 2005, 2006, maybe. But there was a few feet of snow. There's several feet of snow on the sidewalk, and it was, 3 foot high at least 3 foot high. Now, people going in and out had made footprints in the snowbank. So as I'm running, I take one step, I take 2 steps, and I realize there's a giant fucking snowbank in front of me, and I can't clear it. but I see the steps that people have made. So like a fucking football player in training going through the tires. I was like, doop, 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 hit those snow, hit the footprints, boop, boop, boop. One step out in the road. Now I did not look for traffic. Always look both ways before you cross the road. I just got lucky. Thank God a snowplow wasn't coming. I boop, 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 through the snowbank, take a step, and I'm boom. I've one step. I think I got two steps onto the road, and I'm flying full speed. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna get away. I'm running to my car. I'm locking myself in my car. That's where I was headed. That was my plan. I hear as I get my first footstep in the road, I hear the front door of the Barleycorn slam again. It's Steve-O. Fucking, he was pissed. He was coming with a full head of steam. And like I said, he's tall, pretty athletic guy. He takes a step out that front door. I don't think he took another step. His second step, like a fucking gazelle, just boom over the snowbank. Boom, one more step. And he tackled me from behind at full speed as I'm running full speed. So we are cruising. And he tackles me to the ground. I just, and he rides me like a fucking toboggan from the middle of the road all the way to the other snowbank. Luckily, my face stopped us in the curb, so nothing really got damaged. But when he landed on me, he must have, I don't know if he brought his knee up or if it was just his weight or what it was. I think it was his knee. Landed like on my back, but on my side, and I felt something go snap. When we hit the snowbank, I had my hands out. I'm like, whoa! As I'm eating snow and salt and sliding across the fucking road as Steve-O's riding my back. And my face hits the snowbank, but I also feel, I mean, all of his weight's on top of me. I feel my shoulder, like I hit the snowbank, and I feel my shoulder go click, like out of place, like dislocated arm. Steve-O's still furious, so mad. He starts taking he grabs the back of my head, and he starts slamming my head into the snowbank. So if you ever watch the movie Dumb and Dumber, they get in the snowball fight. He starts doing that to the Jim Carrey starts doing that to the girl in the snowball fight, which is hysterical. And that's exactly, without trying to be funny, that's what Steve-O was doing to me. He didn't realize that I cracked a rib and I separated my shoulder. He was still furious at the slap, which he should have been, rightfully so. Toboggans me across the road. We slam into the snowbank. He grabs my head and says, "Don't you ever do that again." And I'm a lump. I'm just a lump in the snow. I can't. You win, Steve. You fucking win, buddy. He gets up all pissed and he goes back in the bar. He didn't even pick me up. I don't think he picked me up. Maybe he did. But I remember getting up slowly, and as I got up, I felt my shoulder click back into place, like it had been out as he was on top of me. And as I stood up, it went boop, and it popped back in just randomly. I was like, oh, thank God. But I always knew from that point that my shoulder was fucked up. Well, maybe it didn't go back into place. It clicked again. And I was like, well, it doesn't hurt as bad as it did a second ago, but my ribs are killing me. So Steve-O goes back into the bar, shut down for the night. I'm left to limp away. Now, I had a booty call girl in Owego at that time. And here's the sad thing. I don't remember her name. I really don't remember her name. I don't remember first name. I don't remember last name. I remember she lived on Main Street, a couple blocks away, in one of the big giant houses that are on Main Street in Owego. And they divided it up into apartments, and she lived on the top floor of one of these big houses. And I had my cell phone, my Nokia flip phone, and I called her. And this is not uncommon for me to call her at 1, 2 in the morning and be like, "Hey, I'm drunk. You mind if I come over?" She's like, "Yeah, come on over." And here's the thing, she was an EMT. She was a first responder. So I hobble over to her house, and she unlocks the front door. She always unlocks the front door for me. And I hobble over and I go in and I walk upstairs and I open her apartment door and I walk in and she's sitting on the couch. And I walk in, I can like the lights are low, you know what I mean? It's like 2 in the morning. She's expecting a booty call. I come hobbling in, and she's like, "What the hell happened to you?" Apparently, I got blood coming down my nose. It's all over in my goatee at the time, my facial hair. It's my eyes are swelling up. I can't move. I'm hobbling like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like. She's like, "You, what happened?" I'm like, "I got a little bit of a thing with Steve-O. He won." She's like, "You need to go to the hospital." And I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I'm like, "I can't move my arm." She's like, "You got to go to the hospital." And I'm like, "I don't want to go to the hospital." She's like, "You're going. You got to go." So she throws on some clothes real quick, grabs me, pulls me downstairs. Now I'm hobbling as best I can. She throws me into her car, and we fly out to Wilson, and we go to the emergency room. And she, like I said, is an EMT. She goes right up to a nurse. She's like, "Get him in there and get so and so to help him." And come in like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I can't move my arm. I think my face, I got blood. My eyes are swelling up." And he didn't break my nose, but he smashed it into the snow. So my eyes are starting to swell up. I got blood coming down my nose. And they're like, "What's wrong with you?" And they think my face is the problem. I don't give a shit about this. I can't move my arm. It doesn't work. I'm like, "I can't move my arm." And then she grabs it. I'm like, "Oh!" She's like, "Oh, I think you're," and she starts grabbing my shoulder and feeling around. She's like, "Oh, I think you dislocated your shoulder." And I'm like, "Probably." She's like, wait a minute. We were going to give you an anesthetic, or not an anesthetic. They weren't going to put me to sleep. They were going to give me a painkiller. She's like, "Have you got anything to drink tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah." So guess what? If you go to the emergency room drunk, they do not give you drugs. Or they didn't give me drugs. They're like, "Oh, hell no. Your painkiller loaded as it is. You don't get extras." And I wasn't out of it, but I was fucking hammered. I was really, really drunk. So she takes off, grabs somebody else. They turn another person. I think it was a dude. They come in and they wrap a towel like around under my arms, and then a towel around my shoulder, and then somebody grabs my arm, and she goes, "We're gonna put your shoulder back." And I'm like, "Ah, all right." She goes, "We're gonna do it on 3. Ready?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, 1, 2. Bitch pulled on 2. I was not ready for that. 1, 2. Ah! Fuck. Apparently that did it. Just apparently when your shoulder dislocates, you have to pull it back out and it pops and it goes back in. Yeah, they yanked. She went one way, he went the other, and my shoulder's like, boom, snap back in. I'm I'm almost passed out at this point, just losing my shit. Not okay. I kind of flopped down on the cot bed thing right there, and I kind of flopped down on it. And they're like, why don't you take 5? Why don't you take 5? She comes back a couple minutes later and she cleans up my face, and what happened. I'm like, "I fell in a snowbank face first. I don't think it's broken, but I was in a nosebleed." They gave me an ice pack, and my booty call girl says, "Thank you, we're leaving." I didn't give them information. I didn't give them insurance, nothing. They just kind of did it. I don't think that's legal, but it happened. Um, we go back to booty call girl's place, and she hauled me upstairs, and she didn't even try and hump me. Thank God. I was not functionable at that point. Maybe I did. I don't think so though. I remember I woke up because she always had to get up early in the morning and go do stuff. I remember I woke up the next day, horrible hangover, and I recognized where I was because I'd been there many times before. And I woke up in her bed, and my God, was I sore. Oh my shit. hurt. It hurt. So it took a couple weeks of recovery. Sore ribs. Maybe they were just cracked. I don't know if they were broke. I never had X-rays or anything. They were in bad, bruised hard for sure. Shoulder was swollen and stiff for a while. Handful of Advil, and I was drinking the next night because I was a lunatic, because that's what alcoholics do. But that happened on a I'll call it a St. Patty's Day night one year. I have more St. Patty's Day stories. I'll tell you about parade days. Please like, share, subscribe, like, and comment. Did I say subscribe? Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell. If you want to hear more stories about my foolish nonsense, please, by all means, leave a like, leave a comment. I post this on Facebook. I'm trying to post on Reddit, and I'm on my Twitter account. You can find me. I think I'm KevDon8988 at Twitter. So check me out on social media. Leave a like, leave a comment, reach out to me, tell me your story. Tell me something that happened to you, and I'll try and get back to you, and maybe I'll make a video about it. I'll catch you guys next time for story time. Peace.